Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Anyway, hi, I'm Kyle Hebert. Last name is spelled Hebert, but it is pronounced Hebert. The H is silent, E's like an A, so that's a little Louisiana French. I live in California now. Let's see, and I'm best known as the voice of Adult Gohan on Dragon Ball Z and now Super. I was the DBZ narrator. Also known as Aizen on Bleach, Kiba, Naruto, Ryu in Street Fighter, Frederick of Fire Emblem series, Ezreal, Jarvan, and Graves, League of Legends. Gosh, those are the big ones, I guess. Which is, we show up at the session and, cold, we're a blank slate. The director tells us what's going on with the character and all that. The audition script, when we're trying out for those roles, we'll usually have a picture, maybe an age, a little bit about them, just little bullet points. And as an actor, you have to make decisions about your vision. It's like, oh, if I were directing, here's how I would do it. And then you submit it, and then it's up to fate whether you do that. But once you show up at the session, the director has to catch you up, give you the context of your lines and what's happening in the episode or the game or the show that you're working on. And then you go from there. It's kind of a collaborative process. If you're doing like a bit part voice, the director's just like, come up with something. It's like, oh, how old is he? Oh, he's in his 20s. Okay, cool. So a higher pitch. If he's older, I'm going to do like lower, a little more gravelly, a little more torn or something like that. If it's zany and cartoony, I have the most fun with that stuff. Like Ox King, a Dragon Ball, oh boy. I can talk like that all day. And sometimes I do, and my wife wants to kill me. But yeah. So I know other people have a very specific technique. I just know for me, I'm used to, thinking on the fly. It's like, here's what you absolutely need to know about the character, and we're off and running.
Go ahead.
Hey, do y'all want this light on?
No.
Videographers? No?
We're all good? Mood lighting?
What has been your favorite and your worst roles to voice?
Favorite and least favorite roles to voice? Well, my favorite, Gohan is definitely up there because I have a career thanks to my DBZ connection. Another one's Ryu in Street Fighter because getting to voice on an iconic franchise led to also getting to have a little cameo in Wreck-It Ralph. And I hope Disney calls me back for part 2. That'd be nice. Kamina on Gurren Lagann has also been like super, super positive and inspiring to a lot of people. And really help them through a dark time in their life, and that's a huge perk to what I do in voice acting. You get to have fun, and you make a little money, and you try to make a living doing this freelance career. But the real perk is knowing that you can touch someone's life in a really positive way, in a very meaningful way. And I've heard a lot of feedback about that show and that character and my performance on that show. That's truly touching. To help people with depression or to wonder, it's like, hey, where is my life leading me? Where should I go? And all that.
What first made you take an interest in acting?
Yeah, my interest in acting was particularly in the voiceover field because I grew up as a really shy kid. I had stage fright, so I didn't get involved in drama or any of that. I wish, looking back, that I had. But I didn't develop the confidence to do public speaking and to address rooms full of people and all that until I became a voiceover guy. But I guess as a kid, learning about Mel Blanc and the Looney Tunes cartoons, how one guy could show such diversity in character building with that, melding of the audio with the visual element. That came really early on, before I was even 8 or 9. And then an interest in radio, again, theater of the mind, being able to just create a performance or craft something with just your voice. That appealed to me as well. So I ended up getting a broadcast degree from the University of North Texas. And and I got an internship at a radio network in Dallas. Worked there for years, everything from classic country to heavy metal to Radio Disney. I was on Radio Disney in 2000, and I heard about auditions from station coworkers that Funimation was having an open casting call back then for Dragon Ball Z. It's like, oh my gosh, I love that show. Dragon Ball Z started airing in the States in 95. Come to 2000, it's a huge hit on Cartoon Network. The dub has gone from Canada now to Texas. And I knew who Gohan was when I showed up at the audition, and they said, here, just look at this 3-ring binder, pick out whoever you want to read for. I knew Gohan, picked that one out, but I hadn't seen the other episodes yet, so I read for like 5 or 6 roles, ended up getting cast in like bit parts. And 2 months later, the high school arc of Gohan began. So this was like in August, September of 2000, and I've been called back ever since, luckily.
Second question from me. You having voiced Gohan for so long, how much of an attachment do you feel to the character? How well do you feel like you know him?
It's pretty easy. It's like breathing, brushing your teeth, riding a bike. It's one of those things where when Dragon Ball Z Kai came around, Chris Sabat was directing. It says, you guys have eaten and breathed and sleep these characters. You guys can basically direct yourself. I mean, yes, they still have a director guiding and conducting the performances and everything, but generally, we're left to our own devices in terms of, what would Gohan do? How would he say that? And we'll notice if the script says something that he wouldn't typically say, we'll reshape it, make it more, well, Gohan wouldn't really say this word. This is a little too formal. Maybe he's a little more laid back or something like that. And they go ahead and let us have that freedom. Not too much improv, though. We do try to honor the Japanese script and have a faithful translation and all that.
Well, about your character, Sasuke Aizen. Me personally, he's like one of my favorite villains. Very psychological, very condescending, but you can't beat him any kind of how.
Yeah.
How fun was it playing that character and playing that role of Sasuke Aizen?
Well, I remember auditioning for Aizen and seeing the description of his character written as mysterious yet friendly. And the first thing that popped in my head was this computer program named HAL 9000 from the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. And he's like very friendly. He's got a friendly voice and everything. But it's like, I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that. And he's talking to the astronauts, and he shuts off the life support of a bunch of astronauts, and they all die. And he's like, I'm sorry, I had to. And he still sounds friendly and calm, and like nothing's fazed him. So I decided to kind of do an homage to that with Aizen's thing, and luckily that worked. And it turns out that role, that very calm demeanor, that low, bassy, almost seductive sound, is what they did in the Japanese version as well. I found the voice very easy to do because, again, it's not like loud and over the top and I'm evil. It's more like, oh yes, I've got this. He sits in his pimp throne and orders. It's just, it's the cliches they say about villains are true. It's like anything as far away from me as possible is the most fun to play. Get into there and just not literally chew the scenery, but it is so much fun to get to play that end of the spectrum.
Do you have any memorable fan experiences from cons? Ones that really stand out in your mind? Has just been.
I have always been touched by people, whether they're soldiers or people who are dealing with life-threatening diseases, or have lost someone to terminal illness, or golly, even ex-convicts. Who changed the direction of their life. Little soldiers, all walks of life really coming to me and saying, hey, this is how you impacted my life. You changed it. It gave me, now I teach martial arts, or now I'm doing animation, or now I'm trying to be a voice actor. Something like that. I'm always truly touched also when fans will, the creativity, they'll craft some original drawings, or make little plushies, or bake a cake or whatever. I mean, unfortunately, due to, health risks and everything, it's like, I don't know, I've heard about people getting roofied by taking food from fans, so I can't really eat food but everything. But the sentiment is very, very sweet and all that. So just getting out there on the con scene and interacting with fans and seeing how much they're entertained by what we're very fortunate in the industry to get to work on.
Two perfect questions. One, were you ready for the Cell tournament? And two, did you really think you beat me?
Well, as Gohan, I mean, it is my character, but Kid Gohan was actually voiced by someone else. So I'd have to use the character memory to say, yes, I really thought I could win. And and that was a fun story arc. It's kind of funny how fans often say they consider Kid Gohan to be Teen Gohan, but the script that I went by when I was recording when he's in high school forward, basically say Teen Gohan on the script. And in the video games, they call him Teen Gohan, but it's really Kid Gohan. It's like, that is confusing, so I totally get it. And, a lot of the Gohan merchandise I sign autographs on are Kid Gohan. It's like I just remind them, it's like, well, it's my character, but not the version of my character. And they say, oh, I know. Or others are like, really? Oh. It's like, you can't tell that that's not me? I'm going to say I have a wide range, but I can't sound like that. But, I mean, I've been following DBZ since, it first started airing. So following the track that Gohan went down and being a fan of the show first and foremost, watching him grow and train and ultimately defeat Cell and all the story arcs after that. I mean, he's going and training to be like probably the most powerful being in the universe, and then he got gimped.
I mean, well, how do you feel about him in Super?
In Super, I think his potential is a lot closer to being realized. I'm glad that the last two movies, kind of retconned GT out of the way, and let's just rethink these things. Let's not go the fanfic route. Let's get Akira Toriyama deeply involved again, and all that. So I'm excited. I'm glad that he has. I mean, he's not becoming the focus, nor should he. But I mean, I'm glad that he's showing he's a responsible dad, but he also shows up in the Tournament of Power, and he contributes. And I'm looking forward to recording that in English. We know the show's over in Japan, but we're chugging along because you guys make it #1 on Toonami all the time. So, yeah.
Nintendo fan here. Could you lift the veil maybe a little bit on what it's like to record a Fire Emblem character? Do you record from home? Like, do they just send you lines? Do you have some context of the story?
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't record the projects usually. What I'll do is I'll get the audition script. The audition script has some different lines from different points in the story, so there's no running continuity or context or flow. It's from different points. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear character beats. It's like, here's what Frederick would sound like when he's calm. Here he is angry. Here he is happy. Here, things like that. And then that's what they'll base the decision on. Once they say, yes, Kyle, you're cast. We want you to come in next week at this studio at this time. Then I show up, and then I'm recording all the parts actually in the studio as opposed to home. And we record one actor at a time because with games that are brought over from Japan, we have to match the timing of the Japanese audio. And because it's so technically oriented, it doesn't really behoove the production to bring everyone in at once. That's just a waste of everyone's time because they're paying you by the hour, basically. So I'll come in by myself. The director tells me, again, the context of the lines, what the basic plot of the story is, or how it relates to my character. And we'll record 3 takes of each line. And then we'll do the fight sounds and the efforts and the death screams towards the end, since those are more trying on your vocal cords. And that process is the same for any video game.
Thank you.
But yeah, Fire Emblem in particular, yes, it's really cool to get a part of another huge franchise. Yeah, really, really honored.
So I know there's a difference between Teen Gohan and Adult Gohan.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a difference between Adult Gohan and Great Saiyaman.
Yeah.
So how fun was it to play the Great Saiyaman role, because it was a little bit more comedic, and also how was it to interact with your real dad, Piccolo?
That's right. Piccolo has been more of a dad. That's true.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I have the most fun with Saiyaman because he is the goofy side of Gohan. He's got all sides. He's relatable to people. That's what really stands out to me. He's just innately good. He's innately strong and heroic and loyal, but he's also a big nerd, and I can relate to that. So I love channeling that. I love having fun with the Saiyaman element of it, like, oh yes, ha, 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 take that, you criminal. I can put on that affected voice, like, oh yeah, nailed it. And yeah, the goofy thing. I've often wondered, it's like, why does he bother putting on this ruse as a superhero? What? I mean, the world already knows about Saiyans and people flying around and all that. What's he hiding it for? I never really understood that.
What's something you're passionate about outside of acting?
I am passionate about movies. Like I saw Solo last night. I thought it was a lot of fun. An unnecessary movie, but you know, no one really asked for it. But I mean, given all that and all the production woes that went through it and changing directors and everything, it came out really well. It's got. I love the acting. I love the scenes. The cast is great. I love movies. I love the internet. I love technology. I haven't had time to read a lot of comics, but I am a comic guy. I go back a little further. 90s was my key time with like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, stuff like that. But nowadays I'm interested in picking up, you know, some of the Marvel stuff. Like there's a new Black Panther that just came out. I'm interested to see. But he's dealing with intergalactic threats too, not just Wakanda stuff. So it's like, oh, well, that's cool. I want to see that take on it. Yeah, passionate about pop culture, just in general. You know, gaming. I'm a casual gamer, but I'm a button masher though, so I'm not like skilled at all. Hand me a controller though. I can't do the PC gaming thing. Can't do the mouse and the keyboard thing. I can hand me a controller. I love my PS4. I love Cuphead on Xbox. I love Gears of War and Halo on Xbox, but I'm more of a PlayStation guy, so PS4 and Nintendo Switch. I'm addicted to Splatoon 2. Yeah, that sort of stuff. All things pop culture, really.
Do you plan to take on Christopher Sabat in Dragon Ball Fighter Z to try to beat his title?
Try to beat his title. Hey, if they want me to, yeah. I don't know if I'd fare much better because he actually trained for that. I don't think Sean did. But Sean took him on. I was at that event. And there were a lot of people watching, and it was on a live stream too.
Yeah.
And you could on demand too, I think, on a Twitch channel. But yeah, that was pretty funny because I was like, well, I'm Gohan. I got to support Dad. But then I see Vegeta just own it. Just like owned. Like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to support Vegeta, even if I end up training. It's like, dude, I know I should vote for myself here, but you're already gonna win this thing. I can just tell.
Gohan's my personal favorite character in the entire Dragon Ball mythos. I also think he's the best person.
Thanks.
Who do you think is the absolute best person in all of Dragon Ball?
Best person? Gosh, I don't know. In terms of their decision making, like the most innately good or
All
most
of that.
appealing?
Who's the best person? Who's the most chill? Who's the most inherently good?
I don't know. That's tough to say because my favorite character, the one that I gravitated towards the most at the beginning, was Piccolo. But I just like his just sour, judgy face look at everything, and I think Vegeta does too with the crossed arms. Like, oh really? And Vegeta's fun too, but I've been more of a Piccolo guy. Gosh, Gohan and Goku. You know, yeah, they're naive to a point of just complete over-the-top silliness, and I appreciate that aspect of their character. The fact that they can be, you know, crazy about food. I'm a foodie. I can totally relate to that. But they're also really, really focused. I mean, once they put their mind to something, then they can say, "Oh wow, they're on it." All I have to do is train. Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah. Son Goku, Son Gohan. That whole line, Goten, everything.
All right, thank you.
Also, as adult Gohan, you have interaction with Goten. What was it like interacting with the baby brother? Because the dynamic between them on screen is the big brother, little brother type of mentality.
It's a lot of fun. I know behind the scenes, this is interesting. The voice actress for Goten is Kara Edwards, who also voices Videl. We both went in at the same time and auditioned for DBZ. We both got cast. It's like, so my on-air partner from Radio Disney, Kara, gets to become my little brother and girlfriend.
Flash wife.
A future wife, yeah, but in Z. It's not weird at all, not awkward at all. But again, with anime, you're matching lip sync and everything, so you have to record one actor at a time. But, you know, if she recorded Goten's lines first, I would hear those in my headphones and be able to play off that a little more easily, because typically we'll hear the Japanese performance and we have to match the timing and the mouth lip sync and all that. Even though in Japanese it rarely matches, but we make a really concerted effort to do that on the English side. But yeah, it's cool to see brothers, especially with the huge age gap. That dynamic is one of the really interesting, appealing things I think about Dragon Ball in general. It's just like, unlike The Simpsons or Charlie Brown, the characters stay the same age all the time. They don't grow. With Dragon Ball, they start as kids and they get older, then they get married, and they have kids, and the kids grow older, and then they get married. It's like you actually see some dynamics and, you know, see their paths through life and how, you know, they're shaped by their upbringing and whatnot. It's a really sweet sentiment to see Goten and Gohan's bond be so strong.
As a voice actor, have you ever gotten discouraged when you first started out, or like what would be your advice for like freelance voice actors being discouraged to put down they're trying to do this?
Yeah. It's very human. It's human to be discouraged at something that, you know, if you don't get called because you audition, you try out, you don't get cast. Of course, it's human to be like, oh man, I wish I could have got cast. But we're in the business when you're an actor of any kind, when you're a freelancer of any type, you're used to not a steady paycheck. You don't know where the next gig is. And when we record for something, we're not exclusive. We're not an employee of a company. We're contract labor. So if you come in and record and you only have, like, say, 2 hours worth of lines, you're basically done after that. So yeah, you have a little more job security with something like Dragon Ball, an ongoing franchise where you're going to be coming back in, but it's rarely enough to make ends meet. So a lot of voice actors also do day jobs or whatever.
That being said, do you feel like it should, like, it's a passion? Something you're
Absolutely. You're driven by that. It's like your soul saying, I am meant to do this no matter what the stakes. You know, I'm going to get told no more often than I'm told yes. I'm going to audition for 100 things, but I might get cast for maybe 5 things, maybe on a good day. It's just kind of not letting your inner voices take over, saying you're not meant to do this. I'm not cut out for this because I'm not getting cast. When you don't get cast, it's not personal. It's always about you're either what they are or not what they're looking for. It's not a person who's like, we don't hire him, he's stupid, or he's not talented, or whatever. If you have a chance to audition, you've already gotten through the first hurdle. Someone heard your demo and thought, hey, you're pretty good. I think I'd like to hear your read for this character. And if you don't get cast, it's still a good thing because you got to try out. Hopefully, they'll still have liked your audition enough to continue to have you read in the future for other things. And you can be on their short list. So there's always an upside. Like, try to look at the positive in the negative. It does take that cliche of 10 years to become an overnight success. It really does. So if you do it for a couple of months and don't get cast and you give up, yeah, I mean, I guess it's not meant to be. But if you're interested in trying out for that, or interested in following any passion or any career, obviously take steps towards that. Train, hone those skills, move where the work is. In the case of voice acting for anime dubs, you know, Funimation in Texas and Dallas. Los Angeles is a hub for most voiceover work, I think. And I have tons of games on my resume and tons of cartoons are recorded there, which is really what I want to be doing. Because the cartoons have the whole cast recording together.
Whenever you're ready.
All right. This is Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening. And I forgot the line already. What?